I keep hearing the same argument about the border and people coming across the border. And you keep hearing Kamala Harris say things like, we initially had this bill drawn up that would have affected border safety. It would have been a good idea. Everybody was for it. It would have done everything everybody wants it to do, yada, yada, yada. But the Republicans, mainly Trump, called his people and said, don't vote for that, kill it right now, so that he could get political leverage with that during the election season. And then I keep hearing that. I keep hearing that side of it is, oh, he could have helped this issue, but he chose not to, just to make himself look better down the road. One time I heard somebody push back and say, well, yeah, that was called the Something Citizens Act or something. And the reason it didn't work is, and then that person got interrupted, and now I still don't know. Was that the case? Was there a bill that would have solved all the problems and somebody squashed it out of sheer greed and personal gain? Or was it something that was like, oh yeah, it looked all hunky-dory, except for this, which is why we squashed it? I don't know.
It depends on how you look at it. If you look, okay, so we'll change the subject so that you kind of get the same analogy.
Okay.
All right, so let's just say you were running gas prices and you were making terrible decisions and gas prices got up to like $4 because of everything that you did to make $4. And you're like, oh, I got an election coming up in 6 months. So I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bill that gets gas prices down to $2 and so I can get elected. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really solve the problem. What it does is it manipulates the gas prices back to 2. So I don't look quite as bad. And then your opponent looks through it and says, well, that does lower the gas prices to $2. So technically it solves the problem. You're down at $2, but the way you got there wasn't authentic, right? You don't have $2 in your pocket. So I'm going to write a bill, not that makes it so you have an opportunity to make $2. I give you $2 to technically it's satisfied that yes, you have $2 in your pocket, but how'd you get it? Oh, I gave it to you. Not authentic.
It's not helpful.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, they knew coming up to election that immigration was going to be a terrible thing for them. So ramming through something that will take the components that would benefit them, but not structurally solve the problem. So they get all upside, which is they get the claim XYZ happen without fixing it from a actual level. And so if you're on this side, you're like, hey, look, they killed my bill for immigration. And then on the other side, you're like, well, it helps them, right? Doesn't really solve the problem. But now the energy is taken out of immigration so that when I truly want to solve the problem, there's no energy left in it, so that's a dead deal now. So which do you pick? Both are terrible. Doesn't get solved permanently. It was just a quick fix to get you elected versus, I got to kill solving the problems 3 months ahead of time so I can solve the problem permanently and going forward. Which one do you pick? They're both terrible. And they both, as politicians, destroyed something and removed the public support for it because they made it a political issue. Politics kills good ideas. Politics kills good motivations.
Yeah. It's a shame.
It is. It's a shit show. And I hate politics and I love politics at the same time. I liked going through politics and trying to understand it. And it's such a manipulative, sophisticated game. I almost don't want to pay attention to politics because it breaks your brain.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like, especially right now, people almost discuss politics like they would sports and 100%. Teams.
You're absolutely
right. And then you talk about like how they're going to win and what their strategy is and what team are you on. And then you went, oh shit, this is our lives.
Yeah. Because remember, it's the same thing. A politician's job is to win. A sports team job is to win.
Yeah.
What happens underneath it, how you get to that end?
Yep. And if you got to play dirty, well, okay.
You get away with it.
Are you making someone money?
So do you think the Cleveland Browns, right, have a better chance of playing dirty and getting away with it, or the federal government playing dirty and getting away with it? Which has better advantage in getting away with it?
Oh, I think the federal government.
100%. 100%. Why?
Because they control everything.
They control it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns don't control the rules. The referees control the rules.
Yeah.
And the federal government, the government controls the rules that apply to the government. So let's just say
Yeah.
the teams control the rules on the football field, right?
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
think they would do? They would make the rules that most benefit the team that's on the field. So if your
Yeah.
kicker's really good and everything's bad, let's make rules that give advantage to the kicker and disadvantage to everybody else on the field. If you're got a great wide receiver, a terrible kicker, then wide receivers get the advantage and kickers get all the disadvantage. That's the way government works in a nutshell. And
Yep.
all they do is shift the rules depending on who can make them.